I've got a story for you, one soaked in betrayal, sacrifice, and a twist no one in my family ever saw coming. Before we step into it, subscribe to Tales Between Time for more powerful stories that keep you on the edge of your seat. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'd love to know your hometown. My name is Clara Monroe, and this is how my own family tried to strip me of everything I poured my soul into, only for fate to hand me back something far greater. 5 years ago, I made a choice most people wouldn't. My parents owned a little bookstore in a seaside town called Harborview. It wasn't glamorous, and honestly, it wasn't profitable either. But it was the heart of our family, shelves lined with creaking wood, the air always laced with the scent of old paper and salt from the ocean breeze. My mother's eyesight was failing. My father's heart condition left him too weak to manage long hours. And so, as the eldest daughter, the responsible one, I stepped in. I was 33, a marketing consultant with a good career, newly married to Evelyn, a freelance designer. Together, we promised ourselves we could carry the extra burden. Month after month, I drained my savings to keep that bookstore alive. Thousands went into covering rent, loans, and repairs. Every holiday bonus, every late-night project I took on, it all flowed straight into those shelves. I told myself it was for love, for family, for legacy. But here's the thing about family. Sometimes love blinds you to the knife in their hand. While I kept the bookstore's lights burning, my younger brother, Noah, became the golden child. Every phone call, every family dinner circled around him. His new band gigs, his travels, his engagement to a woman named Chloe, who sparkled like she'd stepped straight out of a magazine. I told myself it didn't matter, that one day, maybe, they'd see me too. Last spring, Evelyn and I drove up to a vineyard on the cliffs overlooking the sea. It was Noah's engagement party. The whole place glowed, rows of vines lit by fairy lights, the ocean crashing far below. We brought an extravagant gift, a handcrafted leather journal, $8,000 worth for his songwriting.
We had even helped cover catering. I should have felt joy that night. Instead, I felt invisible. My parents fluttered around Noah, smoothing his jacket, laughing at his jokes, beaming like he'd won them the world. I sat there smiling politely, but a knot of bitterness twisted in my chest. The toasts began. Friends spoke, then Chloe's sister, then finally my parents. My father's voice carried like a hymn to our son, Noah, our pride and our joy. My mother's eyes glittered as she added, "He's brought music to our lives, a melody we'll never forget." I clapped along, choking down the sting. They'd never spoken that way about me. Not at my graduation, not at my wedding, not once. Then my father pulled something from his jacket pocket, a key ring. My heart stalled. "Noah and Chloe," he said, holding the keys aloft. "We're giving you the bookstore to build your future together." The crowd erupted in cheers. Glasses clinked. Chloe squealed. Noah grinned like he'd been waiting for this moment all along. And me, I sat frozen. The bookstore. My bookstore. The one I had poured 5 years of savings into. The one I'd kept alive when no one else would. Evelyn's hand squeezed mine under the table. Her voice was low, urgent. "Clara, are you okay?" I forced a smile that didn't reach my eyes. Inside, something shattered. We left early that night. In the car, I finally broke. Tears burned my face as I whispered, "They gave away everything I built, Evelyn. And Noah, he knew." She looked at me with steel in her eyes. That wasn't just cruel, that was calculated. The drive home felt endless. Every memory replayed. My birthdays they'd missed, the achievements they brushed aside, the endless sacrifices swallowed whole by silence.
A month later, my mother texted, "Family brunch at the bookstore, come by." Against my better judgment, I went. Part of me still clung to hope. Maybe they'd explain, maybe apologize. But when I stepped inside, it no longer felt like home. The shelves I'd repaired with my own hands had been rearranged by Noah and Chloe. The bell above the door no longer chimed with warmth. We sat down to brunch. They spoke of Bali trips and music tours while I stirred cold coffee. Then my father cleared his throat. "Clara, we need to talk. Since we've given Noah the bookstore, we'll be moving into your beach cottage. They need space, and we need somewhere comfortable." I froze. My beach cottage? The one I bought after years of grinding work. My safe place. "Let me get this straight," I said slowly, voice trembling. "You gave Noah the bookstore I paid for, and now you want my home?" "Be reasonable, Clara," my mother sighed. "Where else should we go?" And then Noah spoke, his tone cutting. "You hardly use it. Don't be so selfish. Selfish. The word burned hotter than fire. That day I walked out. Evelyn followed, her hand tight in mine. I thought it was over. But betrayal has a way of digging deeper. 3 weeks later, I got a security alert from my cottage. Someone had used a spare key. I opened the camera feed. My parents hauling boxes through the door. They'd moved in, without permission. I called the police. For the first time in my life, I drew a line. The officers escorted them out. Their faces, hurt, shocked, angry, are burned into my memory. I didn't press charges, but I paid for storage for their belongings and handed the key to Noah. They're your responsibility now. That should have been the end. But my mother went online, painting me as the daughter who abandoned her family. Strangers, neighbors, even distant cousins attacked me. I broke. I shared my truth. The loans, the years of sacrifice, the betrayal. The tide turned. Support flooded in. Colleagues, friends, even strangers wrote, "You did the right thing." Noah, overwhelmed, turned my parents away from the bookstore. They ended up in a cheap motel, still blaming me. Do I feel guilt? Yes, but I also feel free. A few weeks later, a letter arrived, sealed in heavy cream-colored paper, from my aunt, my mother's sister. She'd been quietly watching all these years. She knew my sacrifices, the way I was treated, and in her will, she left me everything: properties, businesses, investments. A billion-dollar empire I never dreamed would be mine. Her final words pierced straight to my heart. Clara, build a future where you no longer need anyone's approval but your own. For the first time in years, I felt seen, truly seen. So, here I am now, no longer the forgotten daughter, no longer the invisible one. I am free, I am building, and I am finally choosing myself. If you've ever stood against family betrayal, know this: saying no doesn't make you heartless, it makes you whole. Thank you for listening to my story. Wherever you're watching from, I wish you strength, peace, and courage in your own battles. And if this story touched you, don't forget to subscribe to Tales Between Time. More stories are waiting for you here, stories that prove, even in betrayal, there is always a chance for redemption. Until next time, take care of yourself. You